Hi everybody, this is Audrey at the Creator's Attic. I am here for another field guide episode, and this one is super easy. Anybody can do it if you have your field guides. Let's see. All right, today I'm decided to use my mushroom field guides. This one is, I've decided against this one because this one does not have the type of pictures I'm going to need to use, but I will show you, this can be used somewhere else, but this one's where it's at. So this one is a color guide to familiar mushrooms and fungi, and this one is vintage, but I am not quite sure. I think I got it online or something, but it's wonderful. I love it. So let me show you the prototype. Okay, this is what I have done previously in my journal, and I'm kind of iffy if I like the way the washi turned out, because it kind of killed the vintage a little bit to me, but I left it because that's, it's okay. So what I did was I had these spectacular ads, if you could see them, for roses, and these were from a very, very old, almost antique Sears and Roebuck catalog, and I just used these out, just kind of, tore these out or whatever and used these, and then I decided to celebrate it by using a field guide picture. So on this one, I made this a tag, but in the video I'm going to show you, you can make this a tag that comes out of a pocket. So that's what I did with this one. Did a little stamping, grateful heart, put a little eyelet through a little piece of lace, and I, dress it up a little bit. But this one is not quite as vintage as I was wanting for this particular journal, but you live and learn. So for this one, you can do this, but I'm going to show you a little bit different way to adapt this. And I'll show you what I use, if you probably have already guessed, but I'm going to put this aside and I want to get right onto the video. So this is what I'm using today. Probably you have seen these in a lot of places. Probably still, you may have some of these around your house or your office, but these are those CD cases that you can put CDs in. And I mean, basically, who really uses CDs much anymore? So you may have a lot of extra of these that you're getting ready to throw away. Do not throw them away. They are perfect for what we're about to do. Okay, so the great thing is they have these little windows, and I believe this is a 4-inch circle punch, and you could say that you could make these, but that would really require you to have cut out a much larger area of acetate or whatever, or this clear plastic. And hey, if you already have these around, let's dress them up. So let me get on to the prototype. I noticed that this one somehow got a little bit of moisture on it. I want to make sure that I have, anyway, I want to grab a new one real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see. So what I was wanting to do was basically, I want to fold this down on the natural fold line, and most of these CD cases should be pretty similar. So this is what we need to do first. Okay, first of all, I'm going to get this, I'm not going to take this all the way off. I am going to cut down a little bit along these lines that you see. I did try, first of all, to peel these up. However, it ended up messing up it just didn't work. It just didn't want to come up the whole way, and then I figured out it was much easier to cut it anyway. So what I'm going to do first is just cut right. I'm going to use these because I will be gluing these sides down. So I am going to cut with a little bit of the idea in mind that I want to make this a pocket. So I'm just going to cut down this side, kind of using this as a measure, where this part comes over, this flap comes over, and just go down a little, cut this down a little bit. And I'm not going to cut it all the way to the edge. I'm just going to cut it right up to the edge, and then that way I can fold it back, but I'm not going to tear this up anywhere up in here. Okay, so now we have this. Take these and, well, I do want to maybe cut this back just a tish here in the same manner, not flush with the edge, but just back a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to peel these out, and this is what I'm going to glue down when I go to put it in a journal. So I did this to expose this window. Okay, second thing I have, you can use a piece of cardstock or whatever, but these can be kind of flimsy. So if you're going to put these in your notebooks or your journals, whatever, you can use this as this will reinforce your a little bit more to make your pocket a little sturdier for when you're putting things in the back. Also, this will show through the window in my CD case's particular case. So I do want to keep this edge because it also fortifies my pocket for when I'm putting in things. So what I'm going to do is just cut this off halfway, and it doesn't really matter how straight you cut it as long as you cut it enough to where this will be here. Okay, so now we have a reinforcement for the pocket, and we still have a nice edge and it's not showing through. Okay, so onto the index card. I have my index card, and I'm going to be using this as a base to glue my field guide on. So I have already gone and selected this picture. This will be perfect for my window. So if you want to go through your field guide book and kind of see if it will fit in, what will fit in your window. This was, see, it just really didn't get in. So, I mean, that's why I just chose this when it seemed to frame it. And two, hanging off a little bit here, covering a little bit of the mushroom up will be just fine. If I wanted to include this piece from the key that said, "Do not eat," I can, but I'm not really concerned about that. So, all right, so I did choose a field guide also that was wide enough to where when I tore the page out, it would, I would have enough and I wouldn't have, you know, my ends cut off. Okay, so I chose this page. So I'm just going to remove this. And I'm just going to get pretty close to my edge. There we go. Kind of start it, pull it out. Okay, and I believe that the name of this mushroom, I'm not sure if it's this one or if it's this one, but you could always cut out what, actually I can look at the front picture and see how they had it. Let's see. This is just a little, me being a little bit curious. Okay, so I see that they, okay, so I see the first picture that they have here. Well, I don't know now. Well, but whatever was over here that I haven't torn out. Okay, so the information was on the left. So now I know for my thing, my choice. And I chose one with a little bit of color to it as well to add a little bit more interest. And now I have lost that. Really quickly, let me find it. That's why I had tabbed it. I shouldn't have taken the tab off yet. Oh, leave it to me to do it. I think it's maybe more towards the back. I've torn so many pages out of this already. It really has, I believe, about 150 illustrations in it. So I already tore the page out. Oh, it's got a brain. Okay, so where I tore this out, the would be on the opposite side in case I wanted to cut this out and use it. to identify the mushroom type. But if you're just using a mushroom and you're not really interested in identifying it so much, that's fine too. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I realize that this will cover what I want, will cover up this window. So I'm not really concerned about fitting this in any particular part of this index. Now this is a 4x6 index card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Scotch Create glue stick, and I'm going to do this because it doesn't warp as much, and I'm going to put it, I'm not sure what part of the picture I'm going to use, but I can cut it out. I just want to get this good and ready so it will stay down. And that's what happens when you get to the end. The thing falls out. Oh, okay. This is a Scotch Create permanent glue stick multi-purpose, if you were wondering. Okay, so I'm going to take this off now, and I'm going to put it down down here just a little bit on my thing, and just kind of want to make sure that it's straight. Wipe my glue off my mat. I always have a baby wipe around somewhere handy, so if I get gluey fingers or I get glue on my mat, I can take care of it that way. Okay, move this aside. Okay, so now I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to glue. Okay, apparently I glued a little bit more than I needed to. So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to see. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to see where I wanted to use it. Okay, now all I have to make sure I do is cut this index card off enough where, because it's a little bit too long for my, I'm going to use these scissors. These are my scissors that have my gluey scissors that I use in times of when I am not wanting to be so patient. Okay, now I'm going to see, I know I'll probably cut this out a little bit more, but let me just go ahead and see if it fits in my window. Okay, like I want it to. Okay, yay. Okay, so I can cut the remaining portion of this off, because I've got what I want to view in my window. So I'm just going to cut that off real quick. Okay, and this is what we have. And let me make sure I use the correct side. Okay, so this is what will show in the window. Smooth this down a little bit. And I've got a little bit of glue on my window. Baby wipe to the rescue. There we go. All right, so this will be how I want this. Okay, so we have that. So what we will end up doing is I will come back to gluing this in, but I am not quite ready to do that because I don't want this stark white in my journal. I want to make it a little bit more, celebrate a little bit more vintage. So I'm going to set this aside, and plus I'm going to let it dry too. And I'm going to take my my thing and just kind of lay it down on my mat, and I'm going to grab, I've decided to use brushed corduroy, and I'm going to use the oxide today because I really want it to fill in a little bit more around. I just want it seems to fill in color. If you're going to do it a little bit more, if you want more just to completely change the color, I'm using an oxide. And I'm also going to use my paddle brush, and so here we go. This is quickly, I don't have to worry about being, I can get it off my mat and I can get it off my window. So to quickly do this, see how it seems to just go a little bit better than the distress, because I'm wanting to completely change the color of this. Let me get you in frame. And I'm not worried about this getting on the back, because the back's of the CD case, like rubbing onto it if it does, because I'm just gonna, that part won't be showing anyway. Okay, so this was just this fast that I got my oxide. Okay, now, next thing I'm going to do is get my oxide off my mat and carefully just take my baby wipe or wet cloth, because the oxide will react to water. I'm trying not to get it too close to my edge. I may could just use my finger and wet it on the baby wipe and come around and do this little number and get this off so I don't hit it with water, because they do react to water, and I'm not really wanting this to react with water at the moment. So I'm just using it to smooth the color. Okay, so here we go. Quick as that. Now, if you want to worry about framing your piece, you can peel this carefully off and and then take around and ink around. Once you've taken this off, you can reattach it with some Fabrifix or something, glue. But I'm not going to do that today for this one, for just the sake of time. Now, the thing about oxides that I usually say I prefer the distress inks, but the thing about the oxide also is that they don't dry as fast as the distress ink. So I am going to hit it with my heat gun very quickly, because I'm immediately going to want to start using this right away. And I don't want to hit it too much with the heat gun or too close, because I don't want to melt my window or to warp my window or anything. So maybe this will make it a little bit more conducive to workspace. Want to make sure this is dry though. So I didn't have my towel around me at the moment, because I was coffee dyeing and I was wipe my hands on my flour sack cloth. So, okay, so now that I have this the way I want it, and I have this the way that I want it, this is going to come together very quickly. So I see I have a little bit more oxide up here. If I want to, I can come back and truss up my window or whatever. But okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue my edges down. So instead of gluing on this directly, because I don't want it to get on my picture, I'm going to, I drew a blank, I'm sorry. I'm going to put the glue on here. Okay, so since I am going to be using the plastic and art glitter glue may not work, art glitter glue, so wet white glue is great. I was going to use that, but I'm going to use the Fabrifix, because I am going to want it. It's going to have to stick. My card's going to have to stick a little bit to this card, to this plastic. Okay, I'm not getting too close to my frame yet, because I don't want to get it in my window frame, because that is something that is hard to wipe off. So if I get I'm basically just going to do it like this. So I'm going to lay this down. See, get you a little bit closer. And while I have a minute to move it around, I'm just going to make sure that that's the way that I want it. And I may want it down just a little bit and over this way. And then we have this down. Okay, and now you're going, okay, what next? Okay, here's what's next. I'm going to also glue this flat down. Since I have my Fabrifix, I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to glue this down, because remember, that's just reinforcing the pocket. Now I'm going to leave this like it is, because this, if I want to use this as a pocket this way, I can, or you can cut it off. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to cut too close to the edge, but I'm just going to cut enough to where I can still glue this to my book, but I already have this pretty nice and reinforced with that index card behind the image. So when I go to glue it down in my journal page, I will glue around in the U shape. Okay. So here's what we have. Now, let's say I wanted to adhere it to a journal page. I'm not quite sure where I would want to put it in my journal yet, so I'm just going to use a stray piece of coffee paper, coffee dyed paper. You don't have to use coffee dyed paper. You can use scrapbooking paper would be nice. Let me see if I have something down around where I could do that or something. Let's see. I'm going to grab I did not think about grabbing a spare piece. Hang on. Okay, actually I grabbed the tea-dyed piece because I didn't want it to get lost in the dark coffee dye. So here we go. So let's pretend like this is my page. And remember, my pages are a little bit bigger, so a little bit wider. So I have my page here, you know, and it's sewed in the signature here, or if you don't sew yours into the signature and you're one of those that does it, that keeps the pages out and then sews them in, that's fine. But this is just for demonstration purposes. Okay, so this would be possibly my pocket, and I could put it over a little bit to the side, or I don't want to put it probably too close to the inside of my book because that'll make my book a little bit more bulky. So I can do it like this. Now you can do all kinds of other things to the front of this to decorate it and things like that, but I'm just basically wanting to go ahead and get this down. So since I have my Fabrifix out, I'm going to switch over to my art glitter glue with this because I'm not gluing any plastic, and I'm going to glue pretty well. And remember, I don't want to get it on this part because this part is not I don't want to glue my front of my pocket to the book. This also, having these flaps here, naturally forms a little bit more room to actually make it more like a pocket. I mean, and so it won't be as tight as if you just glued one layer down. So you already have a built-in thing there. So let's lay it down as if I were putting it on a page. And just gonna go carefully out like this. Now, I didn't think about this until I glued this down, but I can always pull it up and put it down because with more glue. So I want to come in, I do want to frame this a little bit, frame this in a little bit. So I'm going to take my walnut stain and just make it a little bit darker. And now that my oxide has dried, it will also help out a lot. So I'm just going along the edges. I may want to pull this up, but I don't really want to lose where I had it because I don't want there to be glue there, because that was an oopsie moment where I didn't quite put it down fast enough. So I may have to go back in there with some glue. The art glitter glue does dry relatively quickly, but I'm still maintaining my space here. So if you ever do this, here's the way to maintain your space or your place, so you're not gluing it. If you're worried about gluing it in the exact same place because you don't want glue on your journal page, that's fine. You can do it like this and at least keep your place. Okay, I want to come in with a little bit more on the top of my pocket. Okay, now I can just go back around where I see my glue and just reattach it. See how I have my glue marks? Let me move you up a tish. I always try to move you up a little bit in when I'm filming you, because I feel like I get you out of frame quite often, and I don't want to get you out of frame, but I also don't want the camera in my lap. So if you shoot YouTube videos, you may understand, got a clog. You may understand my plight here with what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm gonna get clear my glue with a pen, come back around, and just want to glue up a little bit because this is not adhering as quickly as I wanted. I have to be really careful that I am not getting glue on my oxide. That's the thing about Distress Inks, they're a little bit more forgiving. Let's see, I got a little bit of glue on my oxide. Let's come back in there. Oh, no, I got it on my page. Okay, so be careful when you do that. But this is a demo purpose for me. I'm not putting this in my journal, I don't think, because I already have one in there. Okay, so basically we have this down. Now, this is our little pocket, so we could do things like, obviously I wouldn't put this in here, but now we have a pocket and we have a little bit of room. I would wait to put things in your pocket until then. You could come in here after this oxide is completely dry, and you could put some more decorations on some things. Like if I wanted to put a little something in there, and I might not put something this plain in here, but if you have a stamp that has mushrooms on it or something, and you wanted to kind of stay with that theme when you're putting this in your journal, and maybe you want a little card, I'm going to take a little 3x5 here. Get that. And I might eke around the edge. A little bit, probably not this sloppily, but I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. And I could take this, and then I have this adorable stamp here that has a bunch of little different mushrooms, and I don't think I've ever used it, but we're about to use it. So let's say this is a little foam stamp, and I got these relatively cheaply, and I believe I got them on Amazon, but I'm not quite sure what I searched. So these also kind of go on. I know you're really not supposed to rub, but this is taking entirely too long for my video. Okay, there we go. Make sure I have this. And I would normally get my stamp mat, but I believe with this foam, you may not need your foam stamping mat, or if you don't have one, this is even better. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of make sure that I have it and pray for the best. Okay, so I have something like this, and I could decorate it with washi or whatever, and then I would have something themed to go in my pocket. Okay, so that's something you can do. You can also come around to this and use little pieces like I did on my other one. I could go around it with washi if I was, if I wanted to, but I'm not really trying to use a lot of washi in my journals, and for time's sake I'm not going to put any washi around here, and this would reinforce the gluage as well. But so like I said, I have this one, and then you can do whatever you want to do. Here I took a little piece of an applique, or actually just a piece off of some lace that I had, and I just took a little piece. I keep a little piece of these embroidery threads, and I could just put something up here in the corner just to add a little bit of interest, or a stamp or a word. So that's something that we could do, but I am not going to keep you. I wanted to keep this under half an hour or so. So if you like this video, please hit subscribe. Well, you could please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because I have a lot of ideas. I have a whole list of videos coming out for how to use so many different things that around the house and all that you may have just lying around, especially if you don't have a lot of craft supplies. You can fit this in. This is something you could do with just a page and a CD case and, you know, ink or whatever, ink and glue, whatever. Okay, so we have this, and this is our final project. Now we could go on to decorate this page a little bit more. You see how once again, how I decorated this one. And so back to the thing, if you, my Etsy store link, if you need supplies, or you want some old ephemera, or you want some beautiful lace and trim, I just got in the most gorgeous batch of old hand-done crochet and like tatted type lace. It's beautiful. I'll be putting that in some of my my lace and trim sampler, and I've added a 12-inch size to it now, so you can get them in 8-inch sizes, and I have, you know, like anywhere from 15 to 100 piece packs. You can so take a look at that if you want. I have them in 8-inch, 12-inch, and 16-inch options now. I added the 12-inch, so if you wanted to, you know, use them for, you know, doing your journal pages, 8 inches might not be enough for you to use, like if you wanted to use them, say, on the side of a page or whatever. So I rambled on enough about that, but check out my Etsy store if you haven't. It'll be in the discussion part of this video, like the description, not the discussion, the description part. I put a link in there. So please subscribe and hit the like button if you found value here. And I will see you soon with another video. And so stay tuned. Hit that little bell if you want to be notified of, subscribe, and hit the little bell if you want to be notified when my videos come out. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.